Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring for race 2 of the season for the ADAC GT Masters. What a setting for a racetrack. We've started on a high here, haven't we? Under the snow-capped mountains in Styria. So let's have a look at the grid. Mark Kastelik on his second ever start in GT Masters on pole position. Leo Pichler making it an all Razoon, more than racing front row. Felix Hirsiger, yesterday's winner, has Tim Zimmerman for company on row 2 of the grid. On row 3, Sandra Holzem, second place yesterday. Nicholas Callis will want to put that behind him and think about the top step. Lines up on row 3 of the grid. On row 4, Simon Conoprim in the Audi. Storm Jerdrum at just 16 years old, and he's out-qualified his brother because his brother starts at 9th on the grid. Emil Jerdrum, who will be lining up on row 5 with Max Cucuresi, another of the mighty Ford Mustangs, alongside him. So we'll watch those rows with great interest. On row 6 of the grid, the only Pro-Am car in the race, Axel Jeffries at the wheel, and also Baudouin Ditou in the Come To You Racing Aston Martin, and then John Paul Southern and Tim Hooter line up on row 7, and then bringing up the rear all the way from South Africa for FK Performance Motorsport, it's Joseph Ellery. Lots of undulation, lots of opportunities to overtake. The red lights go off, and we are racing for the second time this weekend at the Red Bull Ring. And it's Mark Kastelik who leads the field into turn 1. Felix Hirsiger, yesterday's winner, to the inside of Leo Pichler, so up into second place already.
So this is a chance to see this full start, isn't it?
Yeah, and he had ducked out to the middle long before the red lights had gone out. Storm Jerdrum, you see him going 3 abreast. That is definitely frowned upon by the race directors. They make it very clear you have to stay in line. Looking at it again here, you'll see him duck out to the middle. There he goes, nice and early, and anticipating the start well, but that is why he needs to visit the penalty box. He's done that now and drops down to 11th place. So he's got a bit of work to do to come back from that. Meanwhile, to make positions up on the opening lap of this race, but Mark Kastelik already with a good lead heading in towards turn 4. In the background, 3 abreast. It looked like somebody spearing off. That was Storm Jerdrum on the outside line. Also there is Storm Jerdrum once again, but this time alongside Max Cucuresi. So the other of the Mustangs on the outside line heading into the corner. A lot of opportunities to make positions on this opening lap, but a lot of opportunities to lose them. On that particular occasion, Storm Jerdrum doesn't drive through the penalty box. I think he'll have to do it next time around. So Max Cucuresi on the outside line will get that position presented to him, but he's got it done before then. Behind Storm Jerdrum is also Sandra Holzem, now going wide.
Sparks trailing from the bottom of the cars. The Aston Martin didn't qualify as well as it did yesterday. He's coming under fire now on the run up the hill. And Ditou is holding the inside line in the Aston Martin and just about fends off the Italian Cucuresi.
Well, so the car's looking down towards turn 4 to the inside. Goes the Come To You Aston Martin with Baudouin Ditou at the wheel. So trying to push forward. Storm Jerdrum up ahead of him. And Storm Jerdrum, in fact, just behind him now. So as a result of the trip to the penalty box, so there is Storm Jerdrum, in fact, up ahead, and then the other of the Team XXL Lamborghinis with John Paul Southern at the wheel in there as well. So a lot of challenging for positions at this point in the race. The 77 Lamborghini there with Simon Conoprim as well. But Ditou looking to try and put a move on the Lamborghini in front. Meanwhile, the first 2 looking very close. And in fact, it was Leo Pichler who got in front of Mark Kastelik. So they'd swap positions out of turn 10. Still John Paul Southern very much in control of that battle. And suddenly, now Ditou looked like he'd slowed slightly coming out of turn 1, but I think that was just Cucuresi coming back at him. That Mustang with a lot of straight line speed around turn 2, up to turn 3 they come. And suddenly Ditou has been demoted a position.
to the back of the Mustang on more than one occasion. They've had a good old squabble, this pair, haven't they, with Cucurese finally coming through, but then being line for turn 6 coming up, the left-hander. The Ferrari will try and whip around the outside. It is in front at the moment, but the better line should be on the inside, so Yerdrum will still have a chance here to hold on to that place, but that's a fantastic move from Axel Jeffries, just committed fully to it all the way around the outside of turn 6, and he made it stick eventually around the outside at turn 7, using all of his experience to get past the Mustang of Emil Yerdrum and up to 7th place.
Sensational stuff as Simon Connor Prim now trying to emulate what has happened in front of him. Here comes first, second, third and fourth under the bridge. There's Tim Zimmerman in the orange and black BMW, then a gap back to Nicholas Callas, then Sandra Holzem, then this battle here. Axel Jeffries is ahead of Simon Connor Prim, now to the inside of Emil Yerdrum, so Yerdrum now getting shuffled down the order again.
The turbos breathe a bit better, run a bit better than the normally aspirated cars, so this is where it all began. Coming out of turn 1, Simon Connor Prim ran wide over the curbs, made contact with Emil Yerdrum, and that slowed them both up on the very steep climb out of this corner all the way out to turn 3. He saw it coming, British driver, and in as well comes the number 19 Liqui Moly Team Engstler Lamborghini. So that's going to be Tim Hooter handing over to Ethan Brown, who was impressive in terms of the speed that he had yesterday. So yeah, that shorter pit stop for Axel Jeffries, dead right. They're going to leave him in the car as long as they can, I think. He was hunting down Sandro Holzem's BMW when we last saw them. He's within that 15 seconds of the race leader. He's 13.2 seconds behind the race leader. So if it all goes to plan and it doesn't lose time on the out lap or get held up anywhere, and then there's a very good chance that that Ferrari could come out, the black and green one, in the lead of the race once all the pit stops happen.
Involved here. I'm hoping he's not going to have to retire the car. I think it's all okay. Comes to a stop. The brake dust goes flying. Here comes Max Rice, seat insert in hand. So Emil Yerdrum will be torn out of the car as quickly as possible, and it'll be Max Rice who'll jump on board. Different colours for him this year in the HRT Mustang. You can see the team now getting to work. Boy, as he rags that BMW, Fabio Rao will be next to get behind the wheel of that. But here we go then. The 14 car, Mark Kastelik comes out of the car. Pavel Lefterov will be climbing in. Lefterov, who has been on the scene in ADAC GT4 and in Pro Cycle Cup Germany, amongst many other things. He joins. Meanwhile, Leo Pichler continues at the lead of the race.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's more or less a lap that it costs you to do this minimum mandatory pit stop time. By the way, when they came past the window, Jamie Day in the Aston Martin was right behind the rear wing of Jonas Karklis's Lamborghini, the 163 car, and I think he got ahead looking at the track map on the way into turn 1. So Jamie Day, one to watch on his debut. Very impressive, the British driver in the Come To You Racing Aston Martin. Yes, he got through because he's come past the start-finish line, and a look outside the window of the commentary box. Not only has he got past the Lamborghini, he's left it for dead. He's about 6 car lengths clear. So Jamie Day, very quick driver in the Come To You Racing Aston Martin, the team in their debut season of ADAC GT Masters, the Belgian team who made their debut in the DTM last year, and are really impressing with the performances that they've had with that Aston Martin, and Aston with which they won the Spa 24-hour race a couple of years ago. So even though they're relatively new to GT3 racing, the team that formerly started out and still runs in the Fun Cup Endurance Championship and then run Audis in TCR racing, they're relatively new to GT3, but doing an excellent job, Francois Verbeest's team.
Finn Zulauf jumps behind the wheel of the number 63 Liqui Moly Team Engstler car. And in the Audi, the number 77 car is Robin Rogowski, who relieves Simon Connor Prim. So with 23.5 minutes remaining and a challenge further back, Fabio Rauer on the inside of the Audi, driven by Robin Rogowski. Advantage Rauer there as they head into turn 1. So getting past the car and making that move up into 8th place. Up ahead of them, Giuliano Holzem. Then flat out around turn 2 is Rogowski going to try and come back at him. Moves to the left-hand side up the hill towards turn 3. But Rauer will have the racing line as long as he can slow it down and keep it tidy. No issues there. But Robin Rogowski, keeping him on his toes, ducks back to the inside. inside. The two cars run absolutely side by side as they head in towards turn 4. Rogowski's going to have the line into turn 4, the right-hander, as they come downhill now, under braking. Rauer trying to hang it around the outside, but Rogowski retakes that position in front at the moment. Fabio Rauer in 9th place. Into turn 9 they come, to the inside. So Rauer has a gap on the inside. Rogowski goes deep. Out of turn 10, out onto the pit straight they come. And once again, Rauer is in front. It's the right, under braking, up the hill into turn 3. Ethan Brown very sensibly giving the BMW space, choosing which battles to fight here. They run side by side in towards turn 4, but Duran will have the line for the next corner, turn 4. The two cars almost make contact. Now Ethan Brown coming back, but under braking. Duran gets it slowed down into turn 4. Hill to turn 3 they come. Rauer to the inside, under braking. Holzem giving him plenty of space, tries to cut back to the inside on the exit of the corner. Now the two cars run side by side, as we've seen so many times already this weekend. Into turn 4, the downhill is very tricky here, easy to get it wrong. Under braking, Holzem giving as much of a squeeze as he dare, takes that position back again. So back up to 7th place for Giuliano Holzem. So now Fabio Rauer is going to have to do it all again. Out into turn 6 they come, and around to turn 7. Holzem just positioning the car exactly right at the moment. Rauer trying to distract, trying to get him to miss a braking point. Of course, Rauer has the inside line as they head up the hill towards turn 3. So Rauer with the advantage here, under braking into the right-hander once again. And Holzem's going to try and come back on the outside. Rauer gives him the squeeze on the exit of the corner. Yet another drag race, exactly as you were last time around. Rauer on the inside, Holzem on the outside. So the last of the late breakers once again, braking into turn 4. Rauer with the nose in front. Holzem will try and tuck back behind, maybe try to get to the inside, but a couple of wheels onto the gravel.
The middle and the end of the lap, Leighton Fury lost out a bit. So overall, it's really very similar between the top 4 lap times. Bönighausen, 1 minute 30.456. Lefter off in second, 1 minute 30.485. Careful of that with the track limit. So here we go again. It's down the inside for the number 10 BMW on the Ferrari. Just easy pickings, really. But Fabio Rauer with another good move. So Storm Yerdrum wringing the neck out of that BMW in the first stint, and Fabio also doing a very good job here. So they're not finding a way through, and it's a case of Audi catching BMW, both catching Ferrari, all concertinaing up. This the battle for 7th place with just under 6 minutes plus a lap to go.
So race 2 of the season. ADAC GT Masters. Now the BMW moves to the right-hand side of Kirschmeier. So Holzem ducks back in behind. No, he's to the right, under braking into turn 3. This time, he has a nose in front, and Rogowski trying to follow through on his shirt tails on the exit of turn 3. Kirschmeier back on the power. Now the meat in the sandwich. So Rogowski will try and take this opportunity to make his move, but into turn 4, he's going to have the outside line, but he's got the job done before they hit the braking points. So both cars through. He's out onto the pit straight. It's going to be a first ever win on his debut weekend in ADAC GT Masters for Colin Bönighausen, and a win for Leo Pichler as well. Mark Kastelik will watch on as Pavel Lefterov will make it a perfect race for Razoon More Than Racing. A 1-2 for the team. Pavel Lefterov crossing the line along with Mark Kastelik. Christoph Huber slapping the back of the team members. So let's have a look at the classification. As always, subject to confirmation, Colin Bönighausen, Leo Pichler, the winners ahead of Pavel Lefterov and Mark Kastelik, with Finn Zulauf and Felix Hersiger rounding out the top 3. There's Leighton Fury and Tim Zimmerman ahead of Keanu Blum and Nicholas Callas. Good points there. Fabio Rauer and Storm Yerdrum.